One of the issues you might think about when we want to adapt any Dreamweaver page in terms of the HTML and CSS code is the issue of knowing which particular line or lines of code you need to alter. With each passing version of Dreamweaver, this does become much easier. However, I've yet to find a program that allows you to visually inspect the elements of the page and quickly focus in on the pertinent lines of code. I say I've yet to find a program that allows this. What I should say is I've yet to find a program better than a program called Stylizer. I find it a great little program, so if you don't mind me digressing for a tutorial, I'll show you around it when we want to visually adjust our adaptations page, in particular the background color we wrestled with in the previous tutorial. Okay then, here is the program, Stylizer version number 5, and you can get it from their website. Now this is only going to be a quick look at the program, but if you do want some extra help, then by clicking on here and coming down to this option, Online Help, will take you to their website where you can find information about your particular question. Anyway, as you can see, I've got this page I've built within Dreamweaver using the Project 7 extension. I've got this opened up here in Stylizer, and it works as if it is a live page. Rolling over the menu, as you can see, activates those menu options. We're going to look at a particular feature within Stylizer called Bullseye. You find it by coming back up to this button and then rolling down to Bullseye, or you could use your spacebar as a shortcut. I'll click it here on my drop-down menu, and then as you can see, as I roll the cursor over various parts of my page, then we see particular areas highlighted, and those areas, as you can probably guess, have their own CSS code to style the page in the way it's presented. Now let me just move over to the right of the program, and up here in the top right of the user interface, you're going to see all the necessary files that are generated when you create your page. Nothing new so far, we can do exactly the same thing within Dreamweaver. However, notice when I flick through these CSS files that they open up all the relevant CSS attributes in this area just below. As a result, if you click on one of these twirl arrows, you can reveal methods of being able to adjust those particular attributes for that particular element of the CSS code. This is a remarkably visual way of doing it. This is something you can't achieve within Dreamweaver. Okay, so as you can see, as you move down and flick open any of these, then you can see you can focus in on the particular element that you might want to change. So it's no more difficult than selecting the CSS file that you want to interrogate and then come down to the relevant attribute. Now you'll remember in the previous tutorial we were looking at this particular element, .sidebar.content. Well, if I click here to open it up, then instantly you can see I can focus in on my background color. Now, if you think back to how we did this in Dreamweaver, we had to find the line of code and then change the number from what it was at the present time and then change it to a different number so that we could alter the color. However, using Stylizer 5, not only do you see the number there, but you also see the color. Additionally, underneath, you see the box shadow color as well. That's all well and good if you know which particular file, or rather the particular line of code that you are looking for. Let me go back over to the left of our screen. Imagine we don't really know what to search for. Well, by having the bullseye option activated, you can roll over a particular part of your page, and I'm going for this section here, of course, where our background color is. Well, the bullseye feature now takes us directly to that particular pertinent code in our .sidebar.content area, which now means if I want to change the color, I can do visually. So I'll click in here, and then I'll change this to, well, I'll go for a sort of purplish color. I quite like that, it's fairly vibrant. Shall I adjust it again? Maybe if I move over to the right a little bit within this color palette, I can change the color. Actually, I don't really like that, it's far too dark. So I'll lighten it up. But you can see what you can do, it's very visual. Simply click around until you find the exact color that you want to change this particular line of CSS code to. Bearing in mind we're only focusing in on this background color, Stylizer allows you to focus in on any part of your page and adjust its CSS code. Right, I'll leave it at that background color. Now, do you remember in the previous tutorial where again we had to guess at our box shadow color? Well, we can do the same thing here within Stylizer, but in a much more visual way. So I'll click in the box shadow color picker there, and then I would simply work my way around this spectrum so I can find the color I want to use. Now one tip I could suggest to you is this. If you click in here to grab your color picker and then come back over to your background color on the left and simply select in here once more, then as you would expect, the color for the background color element is now exactly the same as our box shadow. Now the reason I've done this is because if I now come down to my spectrum area, you can see that circle there where that particular color is. Well, now all I need to do is move it slightly so we're in the same color spectrum area, rather than trying to guess where we were. Okay, now I'm going to adjust this. So keep your eye on that shadowed area around our about box. I think that's a little bit too much actually, so I'll adjust it once more. But as I say, as you can see, it's a very visual way of working. And once I'm happy with it, well, if I just simply click on box shadow here, then that accepts that color. And remember, it's just for this particular part of our CSS code, the box shadow. Right, I'll turn the bullseye feature off by clicking on here. And of course, if I want to keep this change, I need to save this to my CSS file. So as you can see at the moment, I've got a little asterisk there to indicate this CSS file requires saving if I want to retain these changes. Well, of course, all you need to do is click on the Save button here. However, if you don't want to save it to the original file, by clicking on this drop reveal just to its right, you'll see the second option means you can save a draft. So not only do you keep the original, you save a draft version as well. If you click on Save Draft, then you can navigate to the relevant folder on your hard drive, and here you would give your draft CSS file a new name. Perhaps you would simply append it with draft at the end. Right, that's a quick run through then how we can stylize using Stylizer 5 any of our web pages that contain CSS files.